Our Midas shops just had a record-setting month here in July. We did $4.5 million with 35 stores. We beat last year by about 200 grand. And I want to kind of go over what I think are the three biggest elements that have led to this success and hopefully can help you in your business and where you want to go. I break it down into really three categories. So for any business to succeed, we need to have leads, right? Customers that are coming in that gives us opportunity to do business, right? One of the things that we've been doing lately, number one, is we're trying to get more Google reviews. Because the more Google and organic people that are calling us because they find us on Google and they trust us, the more opportunities they have. The second thing we've been working on is we do a lot of direct mail. We spend probably $750,000 a year sending out tons and tons of mailers. In our business, most people only go like a couple miles to get their cars fixed, so we can really concentrate around those stores. And we only need about a 2% response rate. So only 2 out of 100 need to come in to make it worth it. But the more direct mail we do, the more opportunities we get to have leads, which are people who need to get their cars fixed. And then we get into referrals. Like, we do a good job fixing cars, people come back, they recommend their friends, and that kind of cycle continues. The first thing you need to attack in your business is leads. We've been hyper-focused on all these things in terms of how do we get more reviews, spending more money on direct mail, getting smarter in terms of what are the categories, where do we attack it, and all that has compounded. And finally, we do a great job, we execute well. The first leg of this stool here, because we don't have opportunities, we don't have leads, we're not gonna sell anything, and we're not gonna do any business. The second big pillar here is people. So we are in the people business that just happens to fix cars, right? We have over 215 employees here in our company, and they do an excellent job, because think about this, your car or whatever it is, right, it breaks down and you call a shop and you want to get a price, you're concerned about it. It's generally a stressful situation, right? Nobody comes to us to get their car fixed and it's happy. And so, what we really focus on is hiring great people who can communicate well, like, here's the problem, here's what we found, here's the solution, who can then build trust, focus on everything that just makes it a less painful experience in this business, right? And we have other businesses where it's not a problem, right? We're painting houses. We're not solving as big of a pain point as, my brakes don't work or my car overheated. And so you really want to focus on the type of people and what are the systems based on your business. And so we've been investing a ton of time into recruiting and developing and training and all these things in order to kind of improve the talent, develop the talent. That is by far the biggest focus for us, is do we have great people? Because we can have all the leads in the world, but if this leg of the stool is not good, right? If we don't have good people, all those leads are gonna go nowhere, because they're not gonna trust us, we're not gonna do a good job, and it's gonna go from there. So if you're looking to hire better people, what I would do to start is we start by identifying what are the core values. So core values of someone it's who they are as a person, right? So for us, we want people who are extremely driven. They want to win every single day. We want people who have very high integrity. Integrity wouldn't be probably a quality for most businesses, but in the auto repair business, there's a lot of mistrust, and honestly, there are people that don't do it right. And so for us, no amount of money is worth doing the wrong thing. We value integrity very highly. We look for people who want to be team players, right? This is a team sport in business, especially when you think about people working together in a store to solve a problem. And then we want people who are very positive, right? There's uplift everyone around them, and they just are extremely friendly, and they smile, and that kind of goes back to the type of people that we need in our organization that can help resolve an issue such as a car overheating, or an exhaust fell off a system, a flat tire, and it's a stressful situation. There's that typical shop mechanic, they're rude, right? Act like you're an idiot, all that stuff. And so we really focus on how do we have good people who don't make people feel like that, right? But those core values, being driven in accountability and team player and all this stuff, that's who someone is at their core. You can't change that. So instead of saying I'm gonna make somebody a team player, we say let's just find people who are already team players and then just give them a better environment to live in. And so that's a big one. And then the other one we do a great job, I think, is recognition. And so a lot of times, people, you wanna be recognized for your contributions. And so we have a call every single Monday, and we go over, recognizing who are the winners that week in terms of, they had a great week, or they exemplified our core value of being a team player, that high integrity, that going above and beyond for a customer. We send hand-signed letters every single month to technicians, store managers, district managers, like entire company letter to recognize this is the best July you ever had. This was the best this is, the most improved that. And so, it's getting a bigger stack every single month. I think it's one of the most awesome things we do because we mail it to their house too. So it's not just like an email or a Slack message, it's something physical, their family, is probably there and they open it. I think it means a lot and it costs us a stamp. Right? And so sometimes there's things like that you can do in your business that really cost you nothing, but it's more the thought that you put into it because you truly value them and who they are and what they're doing for your organization. And so people is like a huge part of where we're investing and going even heavier to now hiring more people to help kind of in this development and training because we know it's so important. And then finally, the third leg of our triangular stool here is process. Right? So when you talk about process, it is all about like what we are doing on every single car, on every single opportunity, every single day. We operate franchises, right? And the whole point of a franchise is it's a process-driven organization. It's a process-driven system. This is huge for me. And when you look at like the biggest companies in the world, and the most successful companies, a lot of it is because they're process-driven. A system that is simple, right? A simple system is easier to follow because there's like less moving parts versus a complex system where there's like a lot of different things and a lot of stuff could go wrong. We focus on, well, how do we make our process, the way we do things, as simple as possible? If it's simple, then it's easier to remember and it's easier to execute. That is the one big part of the process. Then it becomes down to consistency. Consistency in terms of, are we executing the process every time on every car every day, right? Because you could have a great process, but if you only do it, on half the process, on half the cars, half the days, right? We whittle it down versus the people that are the best are the ones that do it on every time, every car, every way. All these things kind of feed to each other. And so we are stacking win after win in our auto repair shops because of the relationships between these three things. So it starts with if we have good leads because we do good marketing, right? That gives our people lots of opportunities to do a good job. People buy from people. So if we have great people in the store customers who are calling and referring, if they like us, right? If you like the person that you deal with, that generates more leads because we have good people who build good relationships, who tell their friends and their family, and they bring in other cars and they bring in their work vehicles, right? Good leads gives us opportunities to deal with the people generate more leads. And we think about like, if we have good people are able to implement the process. They know what your goal is, like why are we trying to do this? And then they are able to then execute it and they're able to hold their team accountable to do it every day. If our people are inconsistent in terms of like what they're capable of, they're also going to be inconsistent in terms of the process that you have. In reverse, like if we have a good process and we have very good consistency, that allows us to attract and retain better people because like A players, people who play at the highest level, they want to be surrounded by other A players, right? They want to be on a team of winners. And so if you don't have a good process, you're not going to have consistency and your one A player that you have is going to be like, nobody else is doing this except me. This is really frustrating. It's creating all these problems. They're ultimately going to leave you because it's just not worth it to them. And so if you have good process that reinforces and helps you find better people, it also generates good leads because people have that good experience. They have a consistent experience. You go to a Chick-fil-A, like every single time the sandwich tastes the same and you can go anywhere in the country, you know what you're gonna get. And a lot of that is because they have a good system and that good system consistency is what then creates the leads, right? It all flows together. And so this is how we've been able to have, so like I said, last month we did $4.58 million. We are up 20%, which, on a big number is a lot of money. Our goal is in 18 months to double our business without buying another store, growing our business entirely through organic sales, like literally the same number of stores, but can we double our revenue by really focusing on these three things? How do we get more people in the door? How do we develop and find better people to be able to then execute a consistent process? As I think of like, what are the attributes that has made my business successful and what is gonna get me to the next level? It's these three things. Look at your business, find out what it is for you and how it falls into each one of these and then where you could improve. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.